When I say the word love, you comprehend it from what you experience love to be, but we don't know what love is. You just assume that we're talking about the same thing.
Yes, sir.
Right, so I know love is real to myself, right? Just like how you know God is real to yourself, but I feel like your objective right now is to prove God to me. So God is let's not say God right now, but love is an interior thing that you feel and you create yourself. Huh? No. Oh yeah, subjective definition.
Okay. Then, sir, why did Mother Teresa work among the dying in Calcutta, India?
Okay, Mother Teresa. Now, there's a lot of problems with Mother Teresa, but Mother Teresa, if we're just looking at her as a purely good human being, she did it to help others based on her faith.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, do you think Mother Teresa loved dying people in Calcutta?
She loved helping dying people.
No, according to her own journals, she didn't.
She didn't love people?
Well, according to her own journals, she had a lot of questions of faith. In her own journals, she detested even being there, but she did it because that's what God wanted, in her own right.
Okay,
Not
I would
all the time.
argue...
I'm sure that she did love the people a lot of the time, but she had her own conflicts with her own faith.
Okay, now I would argue that Mother Teresa was not motivated by a drive to preserve the genetic pool. Instead, she was motivated by love for dying people in Calcutta. So what is love? Love is not a feeling. Love is a free decision of the will to care, to help another person.
In your interpretation, once again.
Well, how do you define love?
Well, as I said, it's defined.
Where are you getting this definition of love?
From Christ? From the Bible?
Well, you can't really say love from the Bible. Well, let's go from our own definitions of love, because God's version of love goes into vengeance and love. The way how he loves is very different from the Old Testament to the New Testament. So let's just talk about our own definitions of love. Your version of love is what you get from the Bible, but another person's version of love can be totally subjective to themselves because it's intangible.
Okay, great point. If there is no God, love is a subjective taste.
A subjective taste is
So,
also a chemical remote.
there's no difference between taste of I prefer broccoli to beans, or I prefer love, meaning raping a woman, versus I love helping people in Calcutta, India. It's all just taste. It's all relative, right? It's all subjective. It's all just a matter of opinion.
Actually, if I may, again, Deuteronomy 27:13. But actually, no. Once again, I keep on. Sorry, a little ADD. I won't get into biblical rape and everything like that. We'll just talk about what we're at right now. If you're talking about, we all have basically a general consensus of what love might be. A general consensus of it. So, for instance, you might call a hammer your hand, but none of us are going to agree with that. You might call love raping a woman, to you that might be love, but no one else is going to agree with their versions of that, so that could be your version of love, but nobody else would really consider that.
Okay, so what is love?
Well, as I said, it's subjective, but most people would consider...
What is it?
Most people would consider, not all, but how at least we in American society would consider love, a person when you care about a person more than you care about yourself.
Good. You care about a person more than you care about yourself. Very good. All right, so Mother Teresa...
Once again, that's a generality.
All right, Mother Teresa worked among the dying in Calcutta, India, because she cared more about those people than she did about her physical comfort. And we respect that. Now, if that was a free decision on the part of Mother Teresa, it means there's a real free will. We're not just machines. We're not just complex biochemical reactions. There's a me, there's a you that goes beyond the complex biochemical reaction. And secondly, it means that you and I can freely really care for the other person more than we care for ourselves. All right, friends, that means there's more to reality than matter and energy. It means there's a person, a soul inside you.
It's in your head.
You're right. It's the only place your thinking is in your head. We agree totally. You think in your head. I'm right with you.
Doing a paradox, biblically speaking. And I'm actually sorry to interrupt you. The only reason I say it's a paradox is because yes, if you are a determinist, if you believe in only matter and energy, as I do, there is no free will.
Good.
But
I respect your consistency.
But at the same time, biblically speaking, there's no free will either. And the reason why I say that is because If God is omnipotent, if God is all-knowing and
Good.
all-creating, there's also no free will because He has already set into motion everything and knows everything that's going to happen with each and every one of us.
You guys are using
It's an
free will
illusion of free will.
subjectively,
Either way.
Wait a second.
Biblically or...
I understand. Good thinking. Good thinking. But is it not possible? Is it not possible for an all-powerful God to partially limit His power by creating you and me with a free will?
Sure, but then that makes him, now he's automatically, once he limits his power, he's not omnipotent.
Okay. Well, then, according to the Bible, that's exactly what God did. He's all-powerful, but He chose to limit His power by creating all of us with a free will. Now, think about it, sir.
It doesn't say that in the Bible.
It talks about judgment. God judges us. Why? Not because we're machines. God judges us because of the free decisions we make.
Give him a citation.
No, you don't need to give a citation, but I don't remember any part, because when I was reading the Bible, I don't remember.
Joshua 24:15. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, but choose for yourselves whom you will serve.
Okay, so that implies
Choose.
that God is not all-powerful at that moment. He limits his power.
You got to be very careful the way you define all-powerful. When I say God is all-powerful, do I mean that God can make a square circle? No. God cannot make a square circle. Yes, right. Yes, but a miracle is not illogical. A miracle is changing a natural law, but it is not setting up a contradiction. A square circle is inherently impossible. You can't have a square circle. Jesus walking on water is Jesus changing a natural law.
And that's a contradiction.
No, it is not. If there's a supernatural God who created the natural laws in the first place, He can change those natural laws. There's a difference between a square circle, which is a logical contradiction, versus changing a natural law and walking on water. And you guys can't see the difference, then I'm in trouble. All of my atheist friends love. All of my atheist friends care for their children. All of my atheist friends make a distinction between good and evil. My point is not, you have to believe in God in order to know love. You have to believe in God in order to know the difference between good and evil. You don't. All of my atheist friends know the difference between good and evil. All of my atheist friends love. What I'm simply saying is, if God does not exist, meaning by that, if you're an atheist, God does not exist, then you are automatically limiting reality to matter and energy, which means all that love is, all that justice is, all that compassion is, all that fairness is a chemical reaction. That's all. It's not true, it's not false, it's not better, it's not worse. It's just a chemical reaction. That's all my point is. Now, my second point is nobody can live that out consistently. And that is why Jean-Paul Sartre, the famous atheistic existentialist philosopher, at the end of his life, after being an atheist all life long, says, quote, "I do not believe that I am the product of chance, a speck of dust in the universe, but rather someone who is expected, prepared, prefigured. In short, a being whom only a creating hand could put here." Protested fellow philosopher Simone de Beauvoir, how should one explain this senile act of a turncoat? Sartre understood. My atheism, if I take it seriously, teaches me morality is relative. But guess what? Fascism is evil. It's not relatively evil. It's not subjectively evil. What Stalin, what Mussolini, what Hitler did are absolutely, objectively wrong. Which means I can no longer keep my brain intact if I'm going to be an atheist. Because if I'm an atheist, I've got to acknowledge Stalin, Hitler, Mother Teresa, Churchill, it's all relative. It doesn't matter what you do with your life. That's all I'm trying to argue. Thank you so much for pushing for that clarification.